Hey guys, tonight we drift into the warm, steaming heart of ancient Rome. Picture this. You're stepping into a grand bathhouse, the echo of your footsteps, mingling with murmurs of conversation and the gentle splashing of water. Around you, Romans dip in steaming pools, their skin glistening in the misty air, each using long curved tools called strigils to scrape away the sweat and grime of the day. It's like an Olympian spa day, except with fewer avocado masks and more, well, naked philosophers. You probably won't survive this without a little chuckle at their expense. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Whatever cozy corner of the world you're curling up in, feel free to comment with your location and local time. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you settle onto one of the marble benches lining the bathhouse walls, the heat from the bubbling water soothes your muscles. Wisps of steam envelop you, transforming the room into a dreamscape where time seems to melt away, while the ambient noise of casual chatter swirls around. An inviting aroma wafts in from the open windows. It's the unmistakable scent of freshly baked bread, mingling with grilled fish, and the sweetness of spiced wine, hinting at the bustling life outside these walls. In the bustling streets beyond the city of Rome is alive with activity. Markets buzz with the clamor of people haggling over olives and figs. Merchants shout promises of exotic spices from far-off lands, while children weave through the crowd, laughter trailing behind them like autumn leaves caught in the wind. You can almost hear one vendor's playful jab, boasting that his fish are so fresh they could swim right off the stall. Yet here in the heart of the bathhouse, there's a curious tranquility despite the sensory assault outside. The Romans may have excelled at warfare and engineering, but when it came to bathing, they raised self-care to an art form. The soothing ritual of communal bathing wasn't merely about cleanliness. It was a social event, a time to relax, exchange news, or even strike a business deal amidst the steam. As you dip your toes into the warm water, you wonder what secrets these ancient pools hold. Did Cicero pause by this very bath to ponder his next philosophical argument? Did a young poet sketch verses in his mind inspired by the gentle ripples of the water? Or maybe a Roman soldier soaked away the weariness of battle, daydreaming of home? Historians still debate whether bathhouses were also the settings of covert political maneuvering. And you can't help but chuckle at the thought of senators whispering conspiracy theories over the splash of a pool. A kindly old Roman, perhaps noting your contemplative expression, settles beside you, his eyes twinkling with wisdom and mischief. Ah, the baths. More soothing than a philosopher's promise and easier to follow, he quips, raising his strigil like a theatrical prop. You share a smile, feeling a kinship with this stranger wrapped in steam. One intriguing detail catches your eye, a mosaic sprawling across the floor. It depicts Neptune, the god of the sea, riding his chariot, drawn by sea creatures, their scales shimmering in the lamplight. You can't help but feel the tug of the stories. These tiles tell vivid narratives crafted from thousands of colored stones. Not exactly network TV, but perhaps just as enthralling for its time. A faint tune floats through the air, a musician somewhere plucking the stringed notes of a cithara. The music is dreamy, its notes swelling and fading like the ocean's embrace. You lean back your body, sinking further into the warmth as your mind drifts across centuries of history. The music continues to weave through the steam, anchoring you in a cocoon of comfort. Your eyelids flutter as the bathhouse dissolves into a gentle haze. And for a moment you're floating not unlike Neptune's creatures in the mosaic. The soothing warmth, the whispers of the city's soul outside, and the camaraderie of companions both seen and unseen cradle you into a serene drowsiness. Each breath you take is full of Rome, a city bustling with life and etched in the annals of time, yet offering these rare pockets of tranquility. As the haunting melody fades to a close, you allow yourself to drift the weight of historical wonder resting lightly on your shoulders. This world, with its curious blend of chaos and calm, invites you to wander its paths a little longer. But for now, it generously wraps you in its timeless embrace, encouraging you to stay just as you are in its warming presence. Your bare feet touch the smooth, cool stones of the ancient bathhouse floor, instantly sending a shiver up your spine, a refreshing contrast to the warm, humid air that envelops your body. You find yourself in an expansive room beneath an elegant dome, supported by worn pillars that boast the artistry and strength of Roman engineering. Sunlight filters through high-arched windows, casting playful patterns on the floor where the tiles meet to form a mosaic of mythological sea creatures, dancing alongside Neptune himself. The bathhouse hums with life. Soft echoes of water splashing around you blend with gentle conversation and the occasional burst of laughter. People are gathered in small groups, reclining on benches or slowly making their way to one of the steaming pools. As you walk past a group of men discussing the latest chariot races, you can't help but smile. Their animated gestures paint a vivid picture of the action, each man vying to make his point about the superior tactics of his favored team. You can't help but wonder how many of them have ever sat in the churning dust of the Circus Maximus, or if it's all just idle talk. Nearby, a group of women sits together, their limbs gracefully draped over the edges of a pool. They're discussing upcoming festivals, exchanging gossip about a senator's wayward daughter who might or might not have been caught sneaking out past curfew. The mingling aromas of perfumes and oils hang in the air, interspersed with the tantalizing scent of freshly baked bread. It's a reminder that even in a place dedicated to cleanliness and relaxation, food is never far from the minds of those gathered here. The Romans certainly knew their priorities. As you approach the central pool, warm steam caresses your face, softening your tension. You notice an old man lounging near the edge, eyes closed, lips whispering a prayer to his gods, perhaps appealing for a good harvest, or simply for good health. It's hard to imagine prayer doing much more than offering comfort. But then again, who can say for certain? You lower yourself into the water, the welcoming warmth spreading through your body. From this vantage point, you observe a group of children darting between the legs of their elders, their gleeful squeals echoing off the walls. They occasionally plunge into the water, with little splashes emerging with expressions of triumph, quickly bringing smiles to the adults close by. As you recline in the soothing bath, a tender breeze slips through the open windows, carrying with it the promise of rain, a faint drizzle to cool the dust of the city streets beyond. Nearby, a dialogue unfolds between two philosophers. One proclaims loudly that the empire's expansion is its greatest achievement, while the other counters with caution, insisting that such growth breeds instability. You chuckle softly. Debates seem to never go out of style, regardless of the century. In search of both a delightful distraction and a nibble, you wander over to the side table laden with offerings of fruit bread and cheese. It's a veritable feast, casually laid out for anyone to pick at. You select a ripe fig and savor its sweetness, a delight that offers a welcome counterpoint to the warmth of the baths. Every sound, every scent tells a story here. The bathhouse isn't just a venue for bathing. It's the beating heart of Roman social life, where news is exchanged and bonds are formed over friendly banter and simple pleasures. You overhear a craftsman sharing tales of his latest commission, a nearly impossible statue for a distant province. As he speaks, his hands move as if sculpting an invisible figure, each gesture breathing life into his words. His enthusiasm is infectious, and you can't help but be swept up in his tale. Laughter peels again across the hall, wrapping around you like a warm scarf, coaxing you to stay a little longer, to sink a bit deeper into the comfort of community and the gentle rhythms of Roman life. Historians still debate whether the baths were more about hygiene or social structure, but sitting here among the laughter, the chatter, and the ever-present scent of olive oil, it seems clear that the real magic was in the mingling. Each face around you bears a different tale, yet together they blend into the rich woven tapestry that is everyday Roman life. As the light outside begins to tilt toward evening, casting long shadows through the windows, you let your body relax further into the warm water. In this moment, all troubles seem as distant as the roar of a Roman chariot charging far from the city center. You inhale deeply the mingled scents of the bathhouse, filling your senses with a soothing balm. It's easy to imagine coming back here every day, a small indulgence in the grand Roman way of life, a life that celebrates food, friendship, and philosophy in equal measure. Though the day draws to a close, you linger in the moment, wrapped in warmth and peace. And as the bathhouse begins to empty, you realize that these moments are what tie each thread of Roman society together, like the very mosaic beneath your feet, vibrant scenes captured in tiny, colorful tiles. You step out of the bathwater, cascading off you and pooling on the floor, a final contribution to the communal experience. Wrapping yourself in a linen cloth, you take one last look around, grateful to have been part of something so timelessly human. Outside, the sky dims softly, the calming melody of the bathhouse still echoing within you. As you step back into the rhythms of the everyday world, leaving behind the sanctuary of conversation and camaraderie, and step it back into the vast, intricate tapestry of life itself. Just beyond the marble arches, bustling under the warm glow of afternoon sunlight, lies a vibrant market. Here aromas of exotic spices mingle in the air, a tantalizing promise of the feast that awaits. Hawkers chant their melodic calls, dates oysters. Lentil stew, their voices intertwine, like the woven baskets displayed around them, creating a symphony of commerce and camaraderie. As you stroll through the crowd, each step echoes against the cobblestones, a gentle percussion amid the lively chatter. A stall to your right boasts pans sizzling with honeyed dormice, an ancient delicacy somewhat at odds with modern sensibilities. Though you have to admit, with just the right hint of spice, they could perhaps win you over. Just ahead, a vendor dedicates his craft to olives alone, their varied hues glistening under the sun. Green, black, and even more exotic colors. The tapestry of textures and sights unfolds around you in a labyrinth of stalls and stands. You let your fingers brush over fine fabrics and intricately carved jewelry, marveling at how skilled hands transform raw materials into objects of desire. History tells us that such markets have long been a meeting place, not just for trade, but for tales travelers, bringing stories as valuable as the silks they sell. As you continue to wander, a burst of laughter catches your attention. A group of children dart by, hands sticky with confectionery, their giggles infectious. Their sheer joy reminds you that moments like these are threads running through the fabric of time, unchanged across the millennia. There's comfort in their simple play. Even among the most drastic changes, some things remain the same. You can't help but notice a statue presiding over the square, its face worn from the brush of thousands of gazes. Carved centuries ago, it seems to keep secrets of its own. Was it a deity once revered, or merely a patron of daily trades? Historians still debate whether its untouched expression symbolizes wisdom or merely the apathy of stone. You feel a kinship with the statue observers in this bustling scene, both trying to unravel the mysteries of those passing by. An audible sigh escapes your lips as you pause beside a stall offering steaming bowls of lentil stew. The aroma is rich and hearty, and as you take a spoonful, warmth spreads through you like a comforting story told on a winter's night. Your shoulders relax, a small but meaningful victory against the day's cares. It's a meal shared by emperors and common folk alike throughout history, a unifying presence on the tables of time. A friendly vendor gestures you over, offering a sample of succulent dates, their sweetness like sunbeams captured in each bite. Did you know, he muses with a twinkle in his eye, that these jewels of fruit were once traded like gold? You smile at the thought. What a delicious currency. That would have been a sweet note in the daily ledger of life. As you move onward, the marble arches of the market signal the end of one journey and the start of another. You take in the vibrant throng around you, every face, every voice, a story in itself, and you wonder, what tales would these echoes carry if they could speak? Perhaps they would tell of farewells and reunions of whispered secrets and boisterous exchanges under these very arches. In the distance, the sun dips lower in the sky, casting long shadows that gently stretch over the cobblestones. The world around you softens, the frenzied pace slowing as merchants begin to pack away their wares. Reluctantly, you follow suit, your steps lighter, as you carry with you the atmosphere, the memory of this day. Leaving the market behind you, weave back through the arches. The stone gateways serve as a gentle guardian, watching over departures with the promise of eventual returns. Your heart swells with gratitude for the city's timeless embrace, a silent reassurance that whether vibrant with life or echoing in quiet solitude, these ancient stalls will always welcome you home. Tonight, as dreams edge into reality and sleep beckons, let the market's memory cradle you, its rich tapestry of sound and scent, a lullaby to end the day. You close your eyes, your senses still tingling with the stories shared, carried gently on the whispers of a time woven delicately into the fabric of now. You drift through the bustling streets of ancient Rome, the sun dipping low and painting the pale stone buildings in shades of amber and gold. The warm late afternoon breeze carries with it the scent of freshly baked bread and roasted meats. You imagine the enticing notes are guiding you each inhalation, deepening your anticipation, inviting you to discover more than just historical facts, but a lifestyle filled with flavors and stories. These aren't the grand restaurants you might think of today with vast menus and formal waitstaff. Instead, you find vibrant pop-up stalls peppered between tall columns and narrow alleyways, a mouth-watering mosaic of sizzling pans and bubbling pots. As you navigate through this gastronomic tapestry, you notice the vendors who deftly juggle between frying, serving, and trading banter with patrons. These small-time stalls turn the street into a tapestry of culinary delights, woven with the laughter and haggling whispers of its patrons. Each booth you pass has its own unique personality, crafted as much by the cheery artisans working them as the delicacies they prepare. A narrow counter laden with browned cheese fritters emits an intoxicating aroma. The vendor catches your eye, nodding knowingly. You realize that regulars might earn that extra touch, a crispiest edge, an extra handful, or maybe a memorable wink of goodwill. It's clear that relationships here are forged over sizzling pans and sighs of satisfaction. Historians might argue about the precise role these vendors played in the grand culinary tradition of Rome. Were they essential components of urban culture or mere convenience? The internal debates of scholars feel distant as you stand here hungry and eager. After all, you're experiencing not an abstract notion, but the pulse of everyday life, where returning customers are the lifeblood fueling both bellies and businesses. The simplicity of it all is as delightful as the flavors themselves. You notice a patron exchanging a few coins, their hand being brushed by the soft, oily warmth of a fresh fritter. There's a kind of intimacy in these exchanges, a smile or a nod, filling the spaces where words are minimal. You almost chuckle thinking, could a wink really mean the difference between good and indulgent? As absurd as it may sound, there's a truth to it. A wink might indeed be your ticket to something special, a culinary favor wrapped in camaraderie. You walk further, your senses guiding you now, not just by smells, but by the rhythm of street chatter. The language might be Latin, yet the cadence is timeless, a symphony of human connection, made through simple gestures, familiar phrases, and shared enjoyment. Each booth is an invitation to taste history, not in distant textbooks, but in tangible, tantalizing morsels. A fellow traveler nudges you, slightly, humor dancing in their eyes. First time they ask, grinning. Remember, it's not just about the order, it's about knowing when to give that knowing wink or share a joke. That's the magic trick here. You shrug amiably, contemplating the notion that your charm could be as much a currency as the coins weighting down your pouch. As you move, you're drawn to the deep, complex scent of garum, a fermented fish sauce beloved by Romans. Its intensity is unrivaled, the kind of flavor that would either ruin a dish or elevate it. You consider this watching as a vendor deftly adds a splash into a simmering pot. You muse garum, the ancient precursor to making friends with a side of culinary flair. Your stomach growls a gentle reminder of your mission. Within this moment, comfort lies in the mere act of being here, immersed in a small yet significant piece of history, the tangible history of tastes, sounds, and sights you rarely find on a page. As the sun sets, the amber glow fades, replaced by flickering torches that warm the face of each stall like warm, comforting fires. And just like that, you step back a little, watching the scene unfold, a lingering smile on your face. The air hums softer now, the world relaxing into evening. You think maybe you'll try for that wink after all before this day turns to dream content in knowing some secrets, like those in this busy street, are meant to be savored, not just solved. You emerge from a luxurious bathhouse, the warmth still lingering on your skin. Everywhere around you, patrons are engaging in low, cheerful conversations, their damp hair still carrying the sheen of aromatic oils. You feel the cool night's breeze wrap around you, whispering its own secrets into your ear. The scent of salted fish and fresh herbs wafts through the air, inviting you to join a small group gathered near the steaming cauldron where skilled hands are crafting tonight's delicacy, warm rolls stuffed with salty fish. It's a local favorite, the perfect post-bath snack. As you approach, you hear snippets of gossip weaving through the gathering, as essential to the scene as the air itself. You reach for one of the rolls, surprised by its comforting warmth despite the chill in the air. The texture is pillowy, giving way to a burst of flavor that dances across your taste buds, a symphony of salty fish, balanced with an unexpected hint of dill. It's easy to see why these are so loved. A light-hearted joke flutters through your mind. It's proof you've survived the evening's indulgence. It's a small miracle you didn't blissfully float away with all that relaxation. As you take another bite, you catch the eye of a friendly local who laughs and says, "Nothing beats a good roll after a long soak, right?" You nod, feeling the shared camaraderie of the moment. Historians have often debated whether such baths were more about hygiene or socializing. Begrudgingly, you lean towards the latter as laughter ripples like the water you just left behind. The scene unfolds with effortless grace. The wooden beams above, darkened by years of steam, tell silent stories of countless gatherings like this one. Below, polished stone floors nip at your bare feet, a gentle reminder of reality's touch against the dreamlike ambiance of the place. You find your mind wandering to the craftsmen who may have built this bathhouse, wondering if they foresaw their creation becoming a focal point for evening revelry. A small cat weaves through the crowd, its tabby fur gleaming like the rolls. You can't help but smile at its confidence Cats have a way of making even history bend a knee. You crouch down, offering it a morsel, and as it purrs loudly, almost demanding more, you share an amused glance with a stranger who just caught the scene. Continuing your walk around the courtyard, you pass by another group, overhearing a tale about a local noble whose extravagant bath led to quite an unexpected collapse of the floor one ill-fated night. The ensuing chaos must have been a sight, even if the poor nobleman's dignity was the only casualty. You chuckle softly, imagining the scene, a reminder that even the rich aren't spared from life's playful tricks. Underneath the crumbling red walls, now mere sentinels to a past grandeur, lanterns twinkle like earthbound stars. You revel in the cozy illumination they provide, casting softer shadows than sunlight ever could. As you ease into another conversation, the chatter blends into a chorus of human connection, the kind that these ancient walls must have heard eons of. The night deepens, yet there's still a gentle vibrancy to the gathering, like a hearth recently stocked with wood. Your thoughts drift lazily to the people of this place, the lives lived beneath these archways. You wonder, did they find peace in moments like these? Did they find solace in simple stories, woven together over shared meals? Perhaps just like you, they found a kind of contentment in a warm roll after a long day, surrounded by friendly faces. The night whispers its age-old wisdom as it slowly enfolds the land. The wind hums a lullaby sweeping through the courtyard. You stand there cradling the remnants of your snack, the past and present, neatly melding into one. Somewhere in the back of your mind, a small voice reminds you to savor these moments, because nights like these, the ones filled with laughter and echoes of history, are fleeting treasures in the grand tapestry of life. You take a deep breath, letting yourself linger just a little longer in the soothing embrace of the scene before eventually allowing the gentle pull of home to guide your steps away from the bathhouse. As you walk away, a sense of gratitude wells up inside, thankful for the echoes of yesteryears having shared this night with you. Embraced by the gentle darkness, the evening begins to wrap you in tranquility. Every footstep leads you closer to rest, the rhythmic patter of feet soothing your soul like a song swaying with the cricket symphony. You ease into a smoother cadence, letting the tales of the bathhouse lull your thoughts into a dreamlike serene. It's time to drift gently into sleep, letting the story carry you as the night cradles your tiredness, soft, perpetual, and full of promise. The mulled wine beckons with its inviting aroma, bringing a gentle warmth that permeates the air. It simmers quietly in the bronze pots, its surface a dance of soft, swirling steam. Situated strategically near the caldarium's exit, the vendors ensured a wine remains a constant presence throughout the day, offering weary travelers a comforting indulgence as they emerge from the embrace of the warm baths. You find yourself drawn to this scene, the rich scents of cinnamon and rosemary curling into your senses, a soothing mixture, not unlike the gentle buzz of bees in a summer garden, each spice playing its part in the harmonic symphony. There's a certain magic to the simplicity of it, all the way these familiar elements come together to create something that feels both timeless and unique. As you stand near the bronze pots, you catch snippets of a conversation between two vendors. Their voices are hushed, as if the secrets of this age-old recipe could be carried away on the wind. You ever wonder, one begins, pausing as he stirs the pot with a slow, practiced hand, about this wine's journey from those ancient lands to here? The second vendor chuckles softly. Ah, the Romans had their fair share of fun with spices, didn't they? But this, he gestures to the bubbling concoction. This, I like to think, is our own little twist. An older woman passes by her robe, faintly catching a whiff of summer's warmth, a testament to the heated rooms of the caldarium. You watch her glance fondly at the meticulously tended pots before she disappears around a stone corner. The echoes of her footsteps, a reminder of the peaceful bustle of this extraordinary place. Historians still debate whether it was the Greeks or the Romans who first introduced such aromatic infusions to wine, an uncertainty as comforting as it is intriguing. You indulge the thought for a moment, picturing ancient banquets where laughter and clinking goblets mingled under the open skies, much like our own gatherings today, albeit with fewer togas. It's somehow satisfying to realize that, despite the centuries, some pleasures remain universal. Perhaps it is this continuity, you muse, that lends the bustling atmosphere its charm, as visitors to the baths chat, their spirits lifted by the promise of warm drinks and shared stories. You can almost see the amphitheater of life unfolding before you, a stage where history plays out, not in grandiose gestures, but in the quiet exchanges between people and the simple pleasures they cherish. And so you stand there feeling the heat of the pot and the coolness of the stone beneath your feet. It's a juxtaposition that perfectly encapsulates the nuances of this experience, the contrasts that make history not just a sequence of events, but a tapestry woven with moments of humanity. You savor the irony that even in such an advanced era, humanity's love for a good mulled wine remains unchallenged, a tradition so tenacious, even the most vehemently anachronistic scribe wouldn't dare disrupt it. One might argue you ponder with a soft smile that surviving life's little indulgences requires the right balance, just like a perfectly spiced mulled wine lurking in the Renaissance shadows. You inhale deeply, feeling an unspoken camaraderie with those who've come before, who no doubt wondered much the same about their place in this grand narrative. As you continue your explorations beyond the caldarium's confines, the mulled wine remains a comforting memory, a taste of the past gifted unceremoniously by a modern world still discovering its roots. In the present moment, as the last of the day's light dips below the horizon, you feel imbued with a newfound appreciation for the simple indulgence. It's in this stillness, surrounded by the resilient echoes of history, that you realize one of life's essential truths. Sometimes the best way to embrace a complex world is to pause to breathe and maybe indulge in one more cup of that intriguing cinnamon-filled warmth. It seems that even here, just outside the thresholds of ancient luxury, the simple things never fail to remind us how little we truly need to achieve a sense of joy. With a chuckle, you imagine the ancient debates over wine ratios and spice blends, a dry affair surely made livelier by the very subject they discussed. There, within the shadows and laughter of such gatherings, it is your turn to truly relax, knowing that in this timeless tradition, you've found a quiet spot to rest your weary mind and let tomorrow's trials remain fittingly for tomorrow. You walk through the bustling streets of ancient Rome, your feet kicking up small puffs of dust with every step. The air hums with the vibrancy of the market, each vendor's stall filled with a kaleidoscope of colors and aromas. You pause momentarily, overwhelmed by the sense of freshly baked bread mingling with the sharp tang of citrus and the rich warmth of spices. Your stomach murmurs in anticipation, reminding you that it's been a long walk to reach this place. As you weave through the crowd, you hear murmurs about a certain vendor, a man with hands deft and skillful, known far and wide for his legendary clay pot fava beans. People speak of him as if he were a myth, blessed by Vesta herself. They claim the goddess of hearth and home. You wonder if such blessings come with a celestial warranty. Surely that would be useful. Historians still debate the exact origins of the dish. Some say it was a family recipe, passed down through generations. Others claim he tasted it in a dream whispered to him by the goddess. You find yourself intrigued. What could make a humble pot of beans so renowned? The sun dips lower in the sky, casting long golden shadows that dance across the marketplace like whispers of ancient stories. At last, you spot the vendor's stall, tucked beneath the shade of a vine-laden pergola. The air around it is sweetened by the heady aroma of garlic and coriander, simmering gently over the low, comforting flame of a clay oven. Your belly rumbles again, more insistently this time. It seems your stomach is doing its best. Impersonation of an oracle, a sign that this is the place to be. You step closer, blinking against the smoke that drifts lazily upward, curling around you like a warm embrace. Despite the hubbub, there's an almost sacred hush around the vendor's stand. People watch reverently as he ladles the beans into small clay pots, each careful scoop reminiscent of a ritualistic offering. The vendor, an older man with kind eyes and a smile like a half moon, meets your gaze with a nod. "Ah, you've come to try the beans," he says. His voice is soft, carrying the gentle tenor of one who knows the wisdom of patience. People say Vesta blesses them, but I think they just like their beans warm and well spiced. You chuckle, appreciating his humility. There's a modesty to the way he handles his craft, each movement deliberate and respectful. It's as if he's participating in a quiet dialogue with the ingredients, coaxing them to reveal their secrets. Is it true Vesta herself bestowed her favor upon you? You ask, half in jest, half in earnest curiosity. He chuckles in return, a sound like the low rumble of distant thunder. Blessed or not, it's hard work keeping these beans from sticking. Perhaps her blessing is in allowing me to continue without burning the lot of them. You take your pot of fava beans, the earthy aroma mingling with the comforting heft of the warm clay in your hands. It's a simple dish, yet there's a richness to the flavor, a slow-cooked depth that speaks of time and care of earthy garlic, and the fresh spice of coriander. As you savor each morsel, you find yourself pondering the mysteries of simple pleasures. Perhaps divine blessing lies not in the grandeur of the act, but in the quiet satisfaction that follows. How much did the blessing matter really, if the outcome was such delightful warmth and comfort? Around you, the market continues to hum with life, a symphony of bartering voices, laughter, and the distant notes of a lyre. It's a reminder that amidst the grandeur of Rome's temples and politics, life thrives in the simple acts of creation and sharing. You lean against a sturdy wooden post, allowing the world to drift by, anchored by the comforting weight of your clay pot. As you finish the last bite, the vendor catches your eye again, an unspoken understanding passing between you of the joy found in tradition, the magic of the mundane, elevated by a dash of mystery, and perhaps a hint of divine intervention. You stretch, feeling the weight of evening settling in the cool breeze, painting goosebumps on your skin. Under the twinkling lights of the market, as another day winds down, you realize that sometimes the greatest stories are found not in distant stars, but in the warmth of fava beans cradled in clay pots. The room is warm, the fire crackles softly, and the scent of barley soup lingers in the air, mixing with the dampness of clothes drying near the hearth. You find yourself in a bustling inn, where patrons are caught between the comforts of their stay and the chaos they've just bathed in. A curious sight unfolds before you. People are shambling about, half-dressed and still dripping from their recent encounter with the inn's primitive bath system, their faces earnest as they hold steaming bowls of soup, a warm meal rudely intruding upon their unfinished dressing rituals. Is it surprising? Perhaps not considering the times. You see many facilities in an old world inn such as this. One are shared and far from luxurious. The communal bath presents a fascinating microcosm of medieval life. Those brave enough to take the plunge can barely wait to warm their insides, with the pottage being served up in the common room. It's an image quite far from today's private spa days. A man dressed in a long tunic, his legs half covered by only one stocking, slurps loudly, holding a conversation with his equally undressed friend, while they lean against the stone hearth for warmth. It's here you learn that barley, the choice grain for this soup, was staple in those days, preferred for its hearty nature and ability to fill a hungry belly. Imagine standing there, a bowl in your hand, watching the mingling of steam from your soup with the warmth drifting from the fire. The sensation brings a sense of grounding, even as the oddity of the situation tickles your modern sensibilities. You might wonder, did they ever feel a sense of dignity lost over these strange morning habits? Historically, bathing was not a solitary luxury. It had a communal, almost celebratory aspect to it. Yet historians debate whether the embarrassment of communal nudity was overshadowed by the warmth and camaraderie shared in such spaces. The stranger juxtaposition of modesty and necessity is almost comical, as patrons pat around the stony floors cracked with age and damp with drips from bodies. You pause for a moment, drawn by a faint murmur from the innkeeper, a woman with wise eyes who seems to be discussing the soup recipe's origins with a guest. "We use what we have, love," she says with a wink, gesturing to the barley sacks in the corner. "But this is nothing compared to the feasts of kings. Now there's a tale of food and fashion, I tell you." Turning back, you spot a dog curled in the corner, blissfully unaware and unaffected by human decency's dance. It too is content warm, and in its own world, perhaps dreaming of the hearty scraps it might acquire later. You chuckle softly at the simplicity of it all, this balancing act between then and now, basic comforts and societal norms. The fire whispers and crackles as you ponder how communities like this inn flourish despite, and perhaps because of shared resources. They were bound by necessity, sure, but also by a shared understanding born of these daily rituals. The air wraps around you like a soft cloak, accentuating the sleepy tones within the room. You finish your soup, imagining how such patterns might foster deep-rooted bonds among these unlikely comrades of the tub. As you slowly draw your shift tighter against the evening's cool, you find yourself wondering what stories this inn has witnessed on lesser nights. You can't know for sure, but it's possible they include tales like the one you live, now matters of dignity, interrupted by barley soup and damp, half-dressed company. The thought makes you smile as you slide back your chair with a subtle sigh, feeling part of something ancient and remarkably human. With one last look at the lively tapestry around you, you retire to your chamber, the warmth from the fire still tingling upon your skin. There's something timeless about the scene you leave behind, something oddly comforting in its imperfection and shared humanity. As you nestle into your cot, you feel the pulse of history in the room's creaking wood and distant mingling voices, a gentle cadence to guide you to rest. You find yourself sitting at a small wooden table in a cozy kitchen, the scent of warm pastries wafting through the air. Before you, a freshly baked fig tart rests on a checked cloth, its golden crust dusted lightly with sugar. You can't help but admire the way the figs caramelize to perfection glisten invitingly. Your fingers itch to reach out and take a piece to savor the sweetness, and perhaps uncover the subtle mysteries of flavor that lie within. You think briefly of the tales you'd heard, whispers exchanged beyond closed doors of romance ignited over such simple delights. Around you, the kitchen is bathed in the soft, flickering glow of candlelight. Shadows dance along the walls, flickering gently as the steady tick of a clock marks the passage of time. You find the rhythmic sound calming like a heartbeat, steady and reassuring. Beside the tart, a delicate bowl of candied walnuts sits temptingly, each morsel polished like a tiny treasure. Here, at this intersection of taste and time, you ponder the curious ways food often fosters connection and competition. In this moment, you recall a story, a curious affair that unspooled within the ornate halls of a historical era, a time when political alliances were as easily fractured as they were formed. You're transported to a grand chamber where paintings peer down pompously from the walls, their subjects charting the lineage of power through piercing eyes and stiff collars. The air smells of wax polish and old parchment, a testament to the diligent work of those who tread these corridors. It was here, legend says, that a senator named Alastair found himself nursing more than just his political ambitions. Historians might squabble over the details, but they all agree that the affair began on a night much like this, over a handful of roasted chestnuts. You can almost hear the crackle of their shells as they were broken open, a sound somehow both satisfying and unruly in the profound silence of that stately setting. Oh, but chestnuts, you murmur aloud, who knew so much could hinge upon a little nutty snack. There's a certain humor in it, the way momentous events often pivot around the most mundane of actions, a truth equally applicable both then and now. You imagine Alistair, his gaze flitting across the room, catching on the twinkle of candlelight reflected in eyes that weren't his wife's. Did his hand tremble when he stupidly swiped a chestnut from the silver tray? Perhaps just like you do now, he felt a stomach twist that signaled the onset of something wholly unexpected. Picking at a chestnut, barely resisting the urge to pop it into your mouth, your thoughts drift back to the table beside you. Food, after all, is more than mere sustenance. It's a ritual, a means of crafting bonds or declaring war. You catch the subtle irony in it, how chocolatey smiles and sticky fingers could so easily turn treacherous as alliances shifted. Alistair's affair, for instance, unfolded in whispers and laughter over dinners, as tensions simmered like a sauce on a low flame, simmered, but never quite boiled over until the unforeseen fracture could no longer be concealed. As you nibble on a piece of the fig tart, the flavors burst across your tongue, intertwined in a delicate dance. You smile to yourself. What began as a simple indulgence becomes a small celebration of life's sharing moments, because one of life's astonishing ironies is how the simplest of pleasures could lead to the most profound of changes. Your mind returns to the senator, imagining those grand dinners filled with clandestine glances and unheard laughter hidden behind silk napkins. The room around you seems to expand and contract in time with your breathing, much like the swells of history itself. Each breath fills the room with warmth, the warmth of baked goods, of light of time, folded delicately like layers in a pastry. You marvel at how the kitchen, so quiet and still, can hold within it the echoes of the past. How this little world, bounded by four walls, can connect you to evenings long past, to moments both monumental and minute. And as the candlelight flickers, making shadows stretch and breathe life into the walls, you feel the weave of time comforting you. The rivalry once sparked by a casual snack has long cooled into a faint, curious haze. Alistair might have pondered such affairs by his library's dim light, where the plush leather armchair bore witness to his musings, and perhaps a guilty pleasure or two. Did he ever wonder, as you often do, about the paths not taken? The opportunities unseized, lost to the annals of history? You softly chuckle to yourself, feeling the slightly irreverent echo of Alistair's folly. Isn't it just like life, you tell yourself, to lean closer on the absurd, steering comedy into consequence? In a grand hall or a cozy kitchen, it is these gentle collisions, moments of sweet indulgence, paired with a touch of the forbidden, that sing the lullabies of our shared human experience. As the kitchen grows quiet again, with nothing but the gentle hum of the refrigerator to accompany you, your eyes grow heavy. Surrounded by the comforting presence of history and the quiet joy of simple pleasures, you find your thoughts slowly drifting, untangling like smoke on the evening air. The warmth of the fig tart, the promise of tomorrow's possibilities all tuck you into a soft embrace of slumber. Your breathing slows, matching the soft, even rhythm of the ticking clock. Let the whispers of the past guide you, the tenderness of those gentle moments wrapping around you as layer upon layer of restful sleep descends like a cozy blanket. Tonight, you dream of fig tarts of roasted chestnuts and ancient halls where whispers create worlds anew. Spring is all around you as you wake up to a world filled with fresh air and the gentle earthy scent of thawing soil. Your mind stirs with anticipation, for this season brings with it the promise of youthful green peas and vibrant mint sauces. As you wander across a soft grassy path, the earth pleasantly yielding beneath each step, you can almost taste the tangy, sweet burst of freshly picked peas on your tongue. Historians agree that such seasonal delights marked the culinary calendar long ago, though debates linger on just how early people began to relish the pairing of mint with their greens. As sunlight dapples through budding trees overhead, you spot a fellow traveler plucking herbs from the ground. Their eyes meet yours, and they offer a slight nod, murmuring about how some believe you need an advanced degree to truly understand the complexities of mint. You smile and continue the smell of mint hanging in the hair like a promise. Whispers of the changing season lead you toward a bathhouse where meals are akin to the farmer's calendar, always precise, prepared with what nature currently offers. The building stands with an understated grandeur, its smooth stonework slightly marred by the passage of time, yet inviting with its promise of warmth and solace. Inside, steam curls like a friendly ghost, and the gentle hum of voices melds with the soft splash of water. Someone mentions that the structure itself is ancient, though whether the carved wooden beams predate the stone walls remains a mystery. You wonder about the hands that hewed these stones and wood, perhaps with admiration or a resigned acceptance that they wouldn't see the final assembly. In one corner, an elder recounts a story from their youth, a gentle warning from the past about the perils of skipping such seasonal gatherings. You probably won't survive the winter, otherwise they say with a wink. It's a light-hearted jibe, but also a reminder of how, throughout history, communities have depended on each other to weather the turning of the year. You're led to a table set with an array of simple yet harmonious dishes. A juicy piece of slow-smoked sausage rests alongside a slice of pressed grape cake, each bite a tapestry of smoky, sweet, and savory that unfolds across your palate like a cherished memory. It's autumn now, you realize, signaled not just by cool, crisp air, but by this rich meal evoking the scent of burning wood and fermenting fruit. You exhale slowly, letting your muscles relax as the warmth from the bathhouse seeps into your bones. You relish this simple pleasure, mulling over the thought that food can be as much about comfort as sustenance. Each mouthful is like a gentle hug from the past, promising care and continuity. A young attendant scoops up a basket of dried herbs hanging low by the window, its earthy scent mingling with the aroma of hot water. They catch your eye and shrug playfully, saying something about how people will do anything to delay winter's embrace for a few moments more. It's a whimsical notion, yet it reminds you of how people have always sought to capture the essence of summer Drying herbs, pressing grapes, curing meats, everything becomes a game of preservation. You chuckle softly, amused by the idea that someone somewhere probably thought the sun could be stored in little jars. Your eyes wander around the room, taking in the subtle dance of shadows and flickering lantern light across the stone walls, keeping history's many secrets cradled in its embrace. Somewhere beyond the doors, the wind rustles against the walls, a gentle reminder of the world beyond this haven of camaraderie and culinary treasures. At your table, the conversation meanders like the lazy evening breeze, touching upon tales of plentiful harvests and stories of leaner years, always returning to the grounding rhythm of the present meal. The soothing cadence of words immerses you in a tranquil warmth, much like the soft background hum of a fan, lulling you into rest. And as you listen, the evening stretches luxuriously, your senses alive to the delicate touch of a contented breeze that feels almost familiar, like a friendly whisper, wishing you well on those steps you must soon retrace. As the world dims around you, slightly cooled in anticipation of the approaching night, you reflect on how meals like these have always been an anchor, much like the gentle touch of spring peas or the robust embrace of autumn's gifts. Eventually, it feels like time to rise and take your leave. Yet you hesitate a moment, savoring this sense of belonging that echoes softly, like a lullaby, coaxing you to linger just a little longer. Finally, you rise, weaving through the mingled sense of mint time and memory, knowing you'll carry the evening's warmth back into the world outside. In the fading light, you make your way through the doorway, your steps echoing lightly down the path, weaving through centuries of tradition and story and serene connection. Your heart seems in tune with the rhythms of the past and present, a gentle symphony of whispers that promise another day, another season, another meal. The merchants all around you are a symphony of voices and colors, overlapping like a patchwork quilt beneath the sun. Each booth is a vibrant shout, adorned with fabrics of inviting hues and scents from across the known world. Yet amidst this joyful chaos, your attention is drawn to a particular corner, a gathering of sauce vendors vying for attention like bards performing for an eager crowd. One vendor, a stout man with a booming voice and a grin like a welcoming innkeeper, extols the virtues of his thick and savory garum, a fish sauce that has been favored by Roman soldiers and chefs alike. He boasts it's for the brave-hearted. A few drops of this on your tongue, he bellows, might just make you feel the strength of a legion. You pause intrigued, gently brushing your wrist against a pomegranate, spilling ruby seeds onto a worn wooden table nearby. The tactile sensation is a reminder of how alive this market is, bustling with movement and history. But as curious as you are about the garum, you're not entirely sure you're ready for such bravery. You stroll a little further, weaving through clusters of chattering visitors who share stories as rich and varied as the market's wares, until another vendor catches your eye. A woman far more understated, with eyes that seem to see beyond the immediate presence, her honey vinegar with a dignified composure and an artful touch. Refined palates, only she says, with a subtle wink, inviting those who stride through life with a touch of elegance to savor its delicate flavor. You chuckle softly, breathing in the warm air spiced with aromas of cooking meat and the sharper tang of the sauces, considering how life's pretensions often come bottled this way. You wonder, not for the first time, if it's the vinegar itself, or the stories spun here that capture so many imaginations, but it is the stall at the end of the row that ultimately holds your gaze. Its keeper, a wiry man with an enthusiasm almost palpable, fans the air with energetic gestures as if to dispel the fiery essence of his pepper paste. This here will spark into flames on your tongue, he declares with unabashed pride, drawing in an audience with tales as hot as his sauce. It's for the show-offs, the thrill-seekers, those who delight in daring taste buds to meet the challenge. Of course you think dryly, every market needs its showman. Historians still debate whether the dangerous allure of such spices was truly about flavor or about the bravado of those claiming to conquer them. You're tempted to engage, to exchange a few words with the pepper vendor, partly just to see the spectacle of it all. But then you feel a gentle tug at your sleeve, a reminder that your journey through this marketplace is just a chapter in a longer story you've yet to complete. Reluctantly, but with a promise to return, you leave the vibrancy behind and let the hum of the marketplace fade into whispers as you move on. Ambling along the cobblestone path, you can still hear the echoes of the vendors' calls, blending with abstract bits of laughter and conversation, a comforting background to your thoughts. You exhale slowly, feeling the gentle bite of a cool breeze against your skin, a subtle invitation to continue wandering. In this meeting of worlds of goods of people, you can't help but marvel at how much of culture and history is built on these everyday exchanges, how the ebb and flow of life, seemingly mundane, can hold the keys to understanding a civilization. Whether it be a pungent fish sauce, a demure vinegar, or a bold pepper paste, each flavor tells a story. Each choice is a reflection not just of personal taste, but of an era, a culture, and even the whims of fortune itself. As you walk on, you embrace the lingering spice of imagination, contemplating whether the next step in your journey might bring you to markets of different lands, each with its own tapestry of sights and sounds, smells and flavors. You know well, though you don't need to rush. The world has been turning with these tales for centuries, and you have time enough to savor them all. As you step into the bustling marketplace, the air is thick with anticipation. Rumors have spread like wildfire. The emperor himself is rumored to visit soon. You glance around, noticing how these whispers have whipped the atmosphere into a fever pitch. It seems everyone is eager to capitalize on the potential influx of imperial attention. As you weave through the throng of merchants, you catch the exotic scent of spices mingling with the more mundane aroma of freshly baked bread. You pause at a stall where bread rolls are stacked like miniature towers. You can hardly believe your ears when the vendor mentions that the price of a simple bread roll has doubled overnight. Supply and demand. He chuckles, his grin wide and unapologetic. When the emperor visits, everyone wants a taste of luxury, even if it's just a humble bread roll. You nod, wondering if anyone else is as skeptical as you about the emperor's rumored visit. The marketplace is brimming with colors and sounds. Silk banners ripple in a light breeze. Merchants bellow invitations to inspect their wares, and children dart through the crowd, giggling and weaving between legs. The cobblestones beneath your feet are worn smooth by countless busy days like this one. You can't help but feel a twinge of excitement too, though you remind yourself that not every rumor should be trusted. Amidst the chaos, one vendor manages to capture your attention. His stall is unusual, adorned not just with baskets of familiar goods, but with an alluring display of the strange and foreign. As you draw closer, you see he's offering something you never expected to find here: flamingo eggs. The vendor, a wiry man with a twinkle in his eye, leans across the counter. Had these flown in from afar, he claims, voice low as if sharing a secret known only to a few. A once-in-a-lifetime offer. You blink, absorbing the rarity of such a thing. Flamingo eggs. Here. Historians still debate whether flamingos were truly as revered as other exotic beasts in these parts. But your curiosity has undeniably been piqued. You wonder if it's worth the gamble to purchase something so exotic, solely based on the excitement of the market's atmosphere. As you contemplate the vendor, sensing your hesitation, adds, with a mischievous grin, "Go on, don't be bashful. People always ask for the eggs, but rarely get the chance to taste one." You suppress a laugh, amused by the sheer audacity of the sales pitch. You can almost hear your mother's voice echoing in your mind, warning about the perils of purchasing improbable promises. With half a mind on the vendor's unlikely offer and half on the bustling world around you, you decide against partaking in this particular whimsy today. However, you promise yourself you'll investigate more about flamingo delicacies later, if only to satisfy your burgeoning curiosity. You thank the vendor and continue on, glancing back briefly to see him already ensnaring the next unwary passerby with his siren call of rare eggs and tall tales. As you stroll deeper into the marketplace, your senses are overwhelmed by the eclectic melange of goods and personalities. Somewhere in the distance, a street performer's melodious tune drifts through the air, adding a whimsical soundtrack to your explorations. You find yourself swaying slightly, your footsteps sinking to the rhythm, hinting of far-off paradises and adventures untold. A gentle laughter escapes your lips as a gust of wind tugs at the tail of a vibrant kite flying above. It seems even the sky shares in the day's jovial spirit. You inhale deeply, your chest expanding with a medley of sweet and savory aromas. Some vendors have brought their finest wines. Others offer plates piled high with unfamiliar fruits that gleam like jewels under the warm sun. You pause to admire a table brimming with handcrafted jewelry. Each piece tells a story of meticulous artistry and tradition. As you run your fingers softly over a smooth pendant, you wonder about the hands that shaped it, their dedication speaking volumes through the silvered curves and flowing lines. A warm feeling settles in your chest, a comforting blend of curiosity and contentment. Here, amidst the ebb and flow of the crowd, you recognize a piece of history in every interaction, every exchange, each a tiny mosaic piece in the vast tapestry of the world you inhabit. You're fully aware that not all these stories are true. each vendor with a more imaginative tale than the last. But today, realism takes a back seat to the enchantment of the present moment. By now, the rumors of imperial visits have become a hum, an undercurrent of speculation that weaves through every conversation you overhear. You suspect that just like the allure of flamingo eggs, the truth of the emperor's arrival might remain a mystery, a narrative spun to captivate just as effectively as any legend. Eventually, you find a quiet corner where you can sit and reflect. The stones of the low wall are cool against your back, and you let your eyes flutter closed for a moment. You think of the world beyond this market, the promises it holds, and the dreams ignited by rumors and fleeting experiences. And as the day transitions into the soft pastel hues of dusk, you can't help but smile at the thought that perhaps some stories are better left as mysteries cherished for the thrill and the laughter they bring into an otherwise ordinary day. Outside the steamy, cloud-filled baths, the dense tapestry of Roman life unfurls before you, full of sights, smells, and a few odd surprises. The air is vibrant with a mix of sizzling food and the distant clamor of passing chariots. As you meander along the bustling street, you spot an eel pie cart, an unlikely meeting place for the rich tapestry of Roman society. You can feel the cobblestone pathway beneath your sandals, rough and uneven, a subtle reminder of the city's age and timelessness. You notice a curious scene unfolding nearby. A freedman and a noble stand side by side, both drawn to the tantalizing aroma of the cart's wares. The noble, clad in a toga, with one end precisely draped over his shoulder, reaches into a pouch for a few coins. Eel pie is a shared delight, transcending social borders, although this particular noble prefers his pie with an extra sprinkling of costly pepper, a decadent spice from far-off lands, almost worth its weight in silver. Historians still debate whether the fondness for eel was due to its taste, or simply because it was one of the few readily available meats. Regardless, it's hard not to notice the irony of such a simple food, drawing people together, bridging the divide between classes, if only for a moment. Nearby, a young boy darts between stalls, skillfully avoiding the swish of flowing robes and the stomping of sandals. You can't help but wonder if the carts, full of pungent spiced sausages and honey cakes, are more tempting than tales of Roman gods' children might hear at the forum. The everyday hum of life proceeds around you, but there's a certain camaraderie at the pie cart, a shared experience that surprisingly doesn't demand formal introductions. You pause, taking in the rich scent of the food, mixed with the city's earthy essence, knowing full well you're in a place and time where daily rituals can underscore shared humanity. The earth and sky looms overhead, beginning to darken with the hues of dusk. You ponder momentarily if these transient connections at the pie cart linger in the minds of those who experience them, like the smoky aftertaste of pepper on a tongue. A lively conversation wafts to you, held between two tradesmen haggling over a bolt of fabric dyed a brilliant blue. Even Venus herself would look envious in this color, one exclaims, punctuating his point with a dramatic wave of his hand. You stifle a chuckle, wondering if these merchants ever truly make a sale without a bit of performative flair. Amidst the ordinary spectacle, A world of history lies unspoken around every corner, under every piece of discarded pottery, and within the shadows cast by every statue. It's an oddly comforting thought that while the grandiosity of Roman architecture may promise eternity, it's these small social rituals that truly anchor the spirit of the city. You decide it might be time to sample one of those pies yourself. As you approach, a cheerful vendor greets you with a nod, offering a slice of steaming eel pie. The crust is golden, a testament to the baker's skill. You take a careful bite, feeling the heat warm your cheeks and the flavorful eel mixed with the slightly charred aroma. The sense of fleeting connection strikes again, carried on the savory bite of this delicate meal. Continuing your walk, you glance back and see the noble, now finished with his modest feast, tap the freedman on his shoulder, sharing a brief laugh. Perhaps there lies some magic in the simplicity of shared tastes, a common area of understanding in a world defined by its hierarchies and conquests. As the first stars peep through the folds of the evening sky, the clamor of the bathhouses continue to echo in the distance where water always seems to be flowing. Gossip always buzzing and laughter forever, a constant melody. You savor the lingering flavor of spices, mixed with the gentle buzz of communal living. Here in the heart of Rome, even the simplest evening holds stories that have yet to be told, histories that will blend with myth and reality alike. The stones underfoot grow cooler with the absence of the sun's warmth, and the gentle breeze carries whispers of stories waiting to be shared. You sense an unfolding narrative all around you, filled with the sounds of friendships and rivalries, fortunes made and lost, all under the watchful gaze of a city that never ceases to watch back. There's no urgency in your steps, no urgent destination, for tonight is about feeling the pulse of life, slow and interminable during its most unassuming moments. As you walk past the now empty pie cart, you nod to its vendor, whose hands still carry the warmth of the ovens, a warmth that passes on to you, accompanying you as the night unfurls its own story, ready to wrap you in its embrace. The faint smell of spices in the air guides you towards the bustling heart of the evening market, where vibrant colors and lively sounds welcome you with open arms. You meander through narrow cobblestone paths, each turn unveiling a new world of curiosities. Tonight, you're not just a casual wanderer. You are a time traveler, stepping back into history, one sensation at a time. The strings of a sitar weave into the air, threading the notes together like a seamless tapestry. Nearby, the playful clash of cymbals and the steady beat of a drum echo from a small group of musicians sitting cross-legged beside a food stall. Their rhythm captures the essence of the night, an unscripted symphony that blends perfectly with the sizzle of frying lentil cakes and the gentle bubbling of spiced milk. As the scents hint at deliciousness, you notice a juggler whose nimble hands send colorful balls arcing through the air, drawing brief gasps and hushed cheers from onlookers. The juggler's expressions are exaggerated in the flickering torchlight, serving a double dose of entertainment and humor. You pause for a moment, taking this all in, amused by the fact that juggling has been around since, well, probably since humans first figured out how to hold a rock. Historians still debate whether ancient jugglers had it easier or harder without audience members distracted by their smartphones. With a fond smile, you step a little closer to the food stall, enticed by the aroma of the golden brown lentil cakes, crackling crisply in the well-worn pan. The stall owner, a middle-aged woman, with a warm smile that matches the nurturing glow from the cooking fires, expertly flips them over while keeping an eye on the bubbling pot of spiced milk beside her. "Care for something to warm your spirit?" she asks, gesturing toward her creation. Not one to turn down such an offer, you nod eagerly, and she serves you with a generous helping of the lentil cakes on a small wooden plate, accompanied by a clay cup of fragrant milk. As you take your first bite, the savory warmth of the lentils, blended with herbs and spices, envelops your senses like a comforting embrace from history itself. It dawns on you that this simple pleasure could have been shared by countless souls throughout the centuries, reminding you just how deeply connected you are to the past. You sip the spiced milk, the sweetness mingling with hints of cinnamon and cardamom, evoking dreams of faraway lands and adventurous tales. The soothing concoction offers a delightful counterbalance to the evening's chill, a whisper of warmth from another era. Listening to the surrounding buzz, your eyes catch sight of a group of children sitting in a circle, not far away, fascinated by a storyteller whose voice rises and falls like a lullaby. His hands paint vibrant scenes of heroism and heartache in the air, drawing an intricate tapestry of legends that have been spun and respun through the ages. One child leans closer, enchanted as the storyteller recounts a tale of an ancient king who, with wisdom and courage united, varied peoples under one banner, the sort of bedtime story kings might tell to princes' dreams, adorned with the weight of crowns. The children's eyes shimmer with the glow of dreams you can almost see dancing above their heads. As the evening plays out, you find yourself caught in its gentle flow, drifting from stall to stall, each stop a new page in this living history book. You can't help but chuckle when you pass a vendor enthusiastically debating with a customer about the origins of his embroidered tapestries. "Some say they're Persian," he insists, waving a hand adorned with silver rings. "Others claim they're from the Byzantine Empire. Or maybe I just got them from my cousin in the next village." Laughing softly to yourself, you realize there's a special kind of magic in not knowing all the answers. Leaving the vibrant scene behind your heart carries the melodies, the stories, and the warmth of the evening with you. As you make your way to a quieter part of the market, you reflect on the timelessness of the experiences shared by the many lives that have passed here. You can't help but wonder, if you could leave a mark on history, what would it be for now? Though you simply savor the here and now, letting the past guide you softly into the dreams of tomorrow. A gentle breeze sweeps through the market, cooling your skin and wafting the sweet and spicy aromas around in swirls. A reminder that the night will eventually give way to another day. Yet for this evening you are content to remain here, suspended in time, where every sight, sound, and taste reaffirms the rich tapestry of human experience that unfolds one night at a time. Occasionally, a quiet figure in a plain toga would taste sniff and nod or shut a stall down with a scribbled wax tablet. You observe this curious character as you navigate through the bustling marketplace of ancient Rome, feeling the vibrant energy around you. This individual, quite unassuming in appearance, carries an air of authority. People give this person a respectful nod as they pass a testament to some hidden importance within these lively scenes. The market thrums with the energy of traders advertising their exotic spices, the cries of merchants displaying luscious fruits, and the buzz of customers haggling for the best prices. You find yourself inhaling a mix of aromas, oregano, basil, and thyme, weaving between citrusy notes from baskets piled high with lemons and oranges. The occasional waft of freshly caught fish drifts over from the other side of the market, reminding you of the nearby Tiber River. As you watch, the figure in the toga scrutinizes a stall displaying baskets of figs, dates, and olives. With a nod of satisfaction, they move on, leaving the merchant to breathe a sigh of relief. You wonder how this person's evaluation could hold such power over these vendors. The scene has a certain timeless charm, yet you're aware of the underlying tension. Get the approval or face the dreaded wax tablet. Historians still debate whether these market inspectors had any legal authority, or if their power stemmed merely from social standing and influence. You can't help but chuckle softly. It seems even back then, bureaucracy had a flair for causing anxiety, and you ponder whether the stall owners in ancient Rome would have enjoyed or dreaded these surprise audits. You pass by a stall, draped in colorful silks and luscious cloths, the gentle rustle of fabric invoking a sense of calm. For all its chaos, the marketplace feels strangely serene. Its pulse is rhythmic, as if part of a well-rehearsed performance, and you're tempted to let yourself become a part of it. Maybe even try haggling for a piece of honey cake to sweeten your adventure. As you stroll, you catch snippets of conversation, each one a thread in the tapestry of daily Roman life. Children giggle nearby, eager eyes taking in the spectacle of the market. Their laughter is contagious, and for a moment, you're caught up in their innocent delight. Just like that time you found a hidden stash of Roman coins washed up by the river, unexpected surprises always seem to make history feel alive and a little bit more personal. Your path takes you past a towering column topped with a statue, seemingly keeping a watchful eye over the marketplace. Historians might argue whether this monument was erected to a local hero or a forgotten god, its features worn away by time. As you pause, you can't help but think how places like this marketplace become silent witnesses to countless stories, each stallholder and shopper contributing to its history. The quiet figure you've been watching stops again, this time at a spice merchant's stall. You see them pick up a small vial of saffron. Its vivid red threads a stark contrast against their plain attire. They bring the vial up, inhaling deeply before setting it down with a smile. The merchant beams, knowing that such a subtle gesture means a good day of trade, and perhaps a bit of luck sprinkled in for measure. You continue your stroll, noting the stall filled with amphorae of olive oil, labeled meticulously for quality and origin. The vendor's sales pitch is particularly enthusiastic, his accent rising above the hum of the crowd. Was the laughter you hear from a jester performing nearby a common sight? In public gatherings, particularly in times of festivals? Or perhaps it is from spectators enchanted by a street magician's deft hand tricks. As a soft twilight descends, the marketplace becomes bathed in a golden glow, lanterns flickering to life across the crowded square. The figure in the toga, now a small silhouette moving amongst the stalls, is a reminder of how some roles remain unsung in the fullness of history, yet vital to the chorus of daily life. You feel a deep appreciation for these living histories, whispering through the cobblestones beneath your feet. Among all the chatter, you overhear a vendor boasting of the new shipment of Egyptian papyrus. Now that's a surprise. The advent of writing materials that eventually revolutionized record keeping, you think with a wry smile. Wouldn't it have been amusing if the empires were built or destroyed based on the availability of robust stationary supplies? Your thoughts wander back to the quiet figure. Sometimes, the most significant presences are the least noticeable at first glance. You realize that what you've observed today is not just an ordinary trader, but perhaps a linchpin of this vibrant community. Their importance may not be evident amidst the jostling crowds, but you feel it an invisible thread binding this dynamic world together. With the day sinking into night, the marketplace starts to empty. The vendors pack their unsold goods camaraderie in every movement as they share stories from the day. You feel the beginnings of a gentle breeze that will soon sweep the street clear a cleanse for the day to start anew. You trace your steps back through the now quieting square, reflecting on the day's gentle tapestry woven between you and the past. Each step feels grounding, settling you into the comforting embrace of history. You take a deep breath, letting a feeling of serenity wrap around you like a soft cloak. The laughter, the tension, the life of a world long gone still resonates softly, whispering secrets to those who linger to listen. As the night deepens, your steps lighten, your thoughts turn airy, like puffs of drifting clouds over a Roman sky. This journey has been like a lullaby through time, the distant echo of traders' voices, the warmth of the setting sun, all gently inviting you to rest. Breath by breath, you let the rhythm of the marketplace carry you softly away into a comfortable sleep wrapped in the dreams of yesterday. The air is rich with the warm, sweet smell of fried honey balls, the kind that sizzle lightly in hot oil before being drizzled with sticky honey. Outside, children chase each other through the dusty streets of an ancient town that seems to be frozen in time. Your fingers are slightly sticky from tasting one of these delectable treats, an experience that leaves your taste buds dancing with delight. You find yourself near a stall where the vendor, a round-faced woman with kind eyes, offers you a bite of soft cheese wrapped snugly within vine leaves. The cheese is creamy and melts ever so gently on your tongue, the vine leaves adding a tart, earthy contrast. You wonder how long the art of wrapping cheese in leaves has been practiced, and whether historians will ever agree on its origins. Nearby, an old man with a weathered face is soaking dried apples in a mulled wine mixture. The aroma wafts through the morning air, rich with spices and the promise of something comforting. and warm. The notion of apples, soaked in wine, strikes you as the sort of ingenious culinary magic you'd go to great lengths to taste. In life's small streets that whisper tales of trade and barter, a young boy haggles over his worn sandals. You watch as, with a hopeful gleam in his eye, he hands them over for a freshly baked pastry. It's a trade weighted in his favor, you think, with a grin as he bites into the flaky crust with no hesitation. This scene prompts a speculation in your mind about how often something as simple as food might have shaped decisions and lives. As you saunter down the cobbled streets, your senses are enveloped by a tapestry of aromas and sounds. Each stall you pass is a new temptress with its own secrets to unveil. A woman is selling tiny clay pots, filled with honey, busily nursing a pot on her lap. Meanwhile, a burly man attracts a small crowd as he expertly juggles oranges, his deep laugh rolling out like thunder as they clap in appreciation. Amidst this lively bustle, you can't help but feel the comfort of the past gently cradling you, a reminder that these everyday moments have always been the small threads weaving the larger fabric of history. As you marvel at the everyday life surrounding you, your heart swells with an appreciation for those who came before and the simple joys that persist through time. You ponder the lives these people might have led in ancient times. Perhaps they too laughed at simple jokes, debated over the best recipe for honey balls, and cherished whimsical stories shared over meals. Isn't it fascinating how part of you yearns to know more, and yet another part suspects that some of these mysteries are better savored, like the very honey balls you enjoyed earlier, with just enough left to the imagination? One of the traders, with a twinkle in his eye, throws a teasing remark your way. Care for a little wager on who makes the best fried honey balls? He challenges with a nod to his own stall laden with the golden treats. You smile as you shake your head, knowing all too well the subjective nature of such debates, as fraught and delightful as deciding the superior sunrise view. The midday sun moves slowly across the clear blue sky, and as the crowd begins to thin, you find a quiet spot under a scraggly tree. Its leaves rustle gently with the breeze, whispering age-old secrets that you can't quite decipher, but feel instinctively drawn to. Closing your eyes, the sounds of the marketplace gradually transform into a comforting lullaby of murmurs and laughter. In this timeless dance, you let yourself be drawn into a place where historical certainties blend with fabled uncertainties. It's a gentle reminder that history isn't just a collection of names and dates. It's an ongoing story captured in the everyday lives of ordinary people and the choices they make, sometimes even swapping sandals for pastries in a moment of sweet indulgence. When the time feels right, you rise languorously as if departing from a cherished dream. Your path is lit by the soft, dimming glow of early evening, and you take a moment to stretch, savoring the small aches that remind you of a day well spent experiencing life's sweeter side. You wonder whether the sandal-less child will one day fondly tell his own stories of bartering under sunlit skies, or if he'll become one of history's many unwritten voices, contributing silently to the tapestry of human memory. Either way, the thought leaves you with a gentle sense of reassurance. As the last bits of light fade and the air cools, you meander homeward, your heart as full as your senses. All around you, night settles in with a comforting embrace, urging you to slow down and relish the peace that envelops you like a vine leaf wrapping delicate cheese. The journey now feels like a warm echo, stretching into the night's embrace. With every footfall an ode to the past and a promise for tomorrow's tales. You exhale deeply, releasing the day with gratitude and an easy contentment that makes sleep seem the most natural next step, like an apple soaking up the rich warmth of wine, surrendering to night's gentle tide. As you wander through the bustling marketplace, you're surrounded by a symphony of sounds, a mix of haggling voices, clattering pots, and the chiming of tiny bells that sway from colorful stalls. The air is thick with the enticing aroma of spices and sweet treats, promising adventures in every bite. You drift past a vendor whose table is laden with an array of snacks. But these aren't just any snacks. These vendors peddle more than just edible delights. They boast miraculous claims. A smooth, syrupy stew, they say, can cure coughs and soothe the throat, though you suspect it might also double as a sugary surprise to keep you awake through the longest night. Your attention shifts to another table where small bottles of garlic vinegar are displayed proudly. For strength, the vendor promises, with a knowing nod, as if bottling courage were as simple as pickling cucumbers. You can't help but wonder if the pungent smell alone is supposed to scare away weakness, or perhaps anyone within a 5-foot radius. Then you spot an ancient-looking stall filled with earthen jugs, each one carefully labeled and sealed. A plump woman with a warm, gap-toothed smile offers a cup of warm goat's milk, claiming it's good for, well, everything. She lists a litany of ailments it can cure, with the calm assurance of someone who might also recommend it for fixing broken hearts. You take a sip and feel the warmth spread through your chest, and despite yourself, you consider that maybe there's some truth to its universal remedy. Historians still debate whether these charming vendors genuinely believed in their own pitches or simply followed the timeless tradition of exaggeration to make a living. Your fingers graze over the rough edges of the wooden tray before you pondering this as you consider purchasing something truly unusual, a concoction of herbs said to promote prosperity and happiness, though it suspiciously looks like what you saw lining the curbs back in the village where the goats roam freely. The lanes between the stalls are narrow, lined with cobblestones that seem determined to trip you up if you aren't careful. As you weave through, you notice a child tugging persistently at her mother's sleeve, insisting on the magical prickly pear paste. Her mother sighs and concedes, trading a few copper coins for a sticky sweet that promises to make dreams come true, or at the very least ensure a very energetic afternoon. You can't help but smile at the fleeting scene, recalling simpler times when you too believed in the power of childhood treats. A gentle breeze rustles the colorful canopies above, bringing momentary respite from the midday sun. A faint clinking of distant chimes floats on the air, carried by vendors who have long mastered the art of tactile marketing, with their wares tied to strings. A vendor catches your eye with an animated tale about his magical almond paste. though it's his slightly mischievous wink that hints the story might be more delightful than true. As you nod along, pretending to weigh the fantastical benefits you're struck by the way these tales weave the magic of history with the humble everyday, converting the mundane into something wondrous. And then there are the voices soft and reminiscent of an age gone by, exchanging greetings, sharing snippets of gossip, and laughing in the face of skepticism as they peddle their wares. You wonder if any of them had found themselves successful in this fantastical business of miracles. Perhaps just like their jars of goat's milk and garlic vinegar, what they truly offer is a momentary escape from the pressures and predictability of daily life. A vendor shouts about his fig leaves, which when steeped supposedly bestow long life. You ponder for a moment. Maybe that's how Methuselah did it, steeping figs behind closed tents. A smile spreads across your face as you imagine an ancient figure sipping tea in the corners of history. You inhale deeply, catching a hint of something unusual from a corner. Stall, skewers of meat, sizzling over a charcoal brazier, their spicy scent mingling with the sweetness of roasted chestnuts. It's all too easy to be lured by these siren scents, promising more than a full belly, but perhaps resistance to an otherwise commonplace cold. Pausing beneath the shade of a large banyan tree at the market's edge, you feel the day's warmth settled against your skin like a gentle embrace. The gentle hum of daily commerce drifting around you like a lullaby. Suddenly, all the lofty claims about garlic and goat's milk blur into a comforting mosaic of shared tales and enduring hopes. The ancient rituals of the marketplace continue guided by the aspirations of vendors and the curiosities of customers, who, much like you, quietly sip them down along with their tea. As the sun begins its slow dip below the horizon, the market lights flicker on one by one, each a soft glow promise that tomorrow just maybe we'll wake up believing in that magic yet again. So here you are, strolling along a dusty sunlit road that stretches endlessly before you, winding through the dreamy olive-draped landscape. The air here is warm and scented with a mix of earthy ground and whispering olive trees, saying hello to the historical soul that settles in this stretch of the world is as simple as pausing to admire a roadside shrine. These shrines dot the paths like tiny beacons, guardians of ancient tales and quirks of history. As you walk, you notice the occasional traveler tossing bits of bread and olive pits towards these diminutive sanctuaries. It's a curious tradition, nearly lost in time, and you chuckle softly, wondering if it's a simple token of gratitude, or perhaps a whimsical plea for some divine aid in digesting the local fare. You decide it's likely both a bit of superstition seasoned with hope or indigestion. After all, the ancients were nothing if not pragmatic in their approach to the divine. The shrines themselves are modest, each with its own unique character, crafted lovingly over centuries by hands long since vanished. Some are adorned with fading frescoes or tiny statuettes, icons of saints or deities that have watched over countless travelers. You find it oddly comforting to think that for millennia, people have been pausing here, sharing in a moment of reflection, or perhaps seeking sanctuary from the relentless journey of life. The very act of placing a crumb or an olive pit comes with a sort of ceremonial grace. There's a gentle ritualism to it, one foot pausing before the other, a momentary alignment with the universe where offering meets prayer. As you mimic this gesture, you feel your own past and future telescope into a singular, timeless present. Wouldn't it be nice, you muse, if a simple olive pit could solve all existential woes? Venturing further into this tranquil landscape, the historical footprint becomes ever more vivid. You recall that centuries ago, roads like this were frequented by Roman merchants and travelers who spoke of their journey's luck or lack thereof in tales lodged between history and myth. Sometimes they'd throw in an extra crumb just in case Fortuna was listening. Historians still debate whether these shrines were originally meant for roadside rest or if they served as more spiritual navigation points, helping the lost find their way in a world much larger and more mysterious than our own. It's a thought that sticks with you like a pebble in a shoe as you half smile at the irony that now, with all our navigation apps, fewer of us have reason to slow down enough to notice them. The dusty wind shifts slightly, bringing with it the notes of a distant shepherd's song, a melody maybe as old as the road you travel. You can almost hear the sheep bleating in rhythmic concordance with the olive branches swaying above you. It's a song that calls back the simpler days when a flock and its keeper roamed freely united by the open sky and the ancient tunes that spoke of love, loss, and eternity. A shepherd approaches you, his staff clicking gently against the stones as he walks. Dressed in layers suitable for the chill that would eventually kiss this land at dusk, he nods in your direction, a greeting in its simplest form. His sheep gather around like clouds of wool, and a soft bawing fills the air. We entrust our crumbs to the old ones, he remarks, gesturing toward a nearby shrine. His voice is the whisper of weathered hills and seasoned wisdom. You nod, echoing his reverence in your respectful silence. Do you think they listen? You ask, curiosity pushing through your voice like the breeze through olive leaves. The shepherd just smiles, a creased expression that speaks more than words. Sometimes it's not about them listening, he replies softly, looking out toward the undulating hills, but about us having hope that they might. And with that, he continues on his way, his sheep trailing after him like feathered whispers of a passing dream. You continue your amble down the road, the encounter resonating within you like the low hum of how a fan might sound on a soft summer night. As the sun dips lower, casting long shadows that bind you to the earth, you feel an unspoken bond with those who have tread this path before you and those who have yet to come. The horizon before you fades into a haze of gold and indigo, a testament to the day's journey and its quiet revelations. As you settle into an inn for weary travelers, the weight of the day's travels and thoughts rest upon you like a gentle cloak. A simple meal awaits bread, cheese, and of course olives. You can't help but smile at the small bowl of pits set aside. The innkeeper nods knowingly, pointing to the shrine just outside the door. For luck, they whisper, a twinkle in their eye. You muse, Whether this token gesture, an olive pit, tossed for fortune or digestion, is perhaps more about the connection it forges. A connection with the past with others who understand the value of hope, or simply as a gesture that says, I was here too. As the evening quiets around you, you pull back the woven blanket, its weight both familiar and comforting. The room is quiet, save for the soothing hum of a fan borrowed from the dreams that came before. To think that history can be an integral part of bedtime, gently cradling you as you drift off, is a comforting thought. Your eyes soften, closing under the soft glow of the dimmed lights. The whispers of centuries fold gently against you as the lull of history's embrace becomes your final thought. And just as those travelers of old found solace under the olive boughs and in a warmth of roadside shrines, so too do you find peace in the soft night that enfolds you, drawing you into sleep's tender embrace. The warmth of the day begins to retreat as you find yourself in the calming embrace of the baths, the air filled with the steam and soft murmurs of those around you. The water's gentle embrace feels like a silky whisper against your skin, a quiet reminder that life's simplest pleasures often hold the deepest solace. Just moments before, you were part of a feast outside in the open courtyard, where tables were laden with an array of dishes so vibrant you might have sworn they were painted by a master if you hadn't gratefully enjoyed seconds. Inside the baths, you can hear echoes of those same vibrant conversations. People around you are languidly floating in dialogues that seem to drift as lazily as the steam above the water surface. A man to your left laughs deeply, the kind of laugh that erupts unbidden from a well-fed belly. His companion, not to be outshone, regales him with a joke, one that is just enough spice to have you raising an eyebrow and smiling to yourself. It's the sort of joke you tell on a long road trip, miles from propriety and consequence. As you glance around, your mind drifts to thoughts about this so-called ritual. You've been told that in ancient times, bathing was as much about socializing as it was cleanliness. Bathhouses were central to social life in the Roman Empire. They served as gathering places for debate, business pleasure, and yes, those remarkably salty jokes. You exhale slowly, letting the warmth sink further into your bones, your muscles releasing their tension, like a bowstring loosened. You catch a stray thought, wondering if any of these bath-goers were seeking the divine in these waters, much like the ancient Romans believed in the presence of nymphs within the baths. Historians still debate whether the ancients truly believed in these ethereal companions, or whether it was more an excuse to escape societal duties under the guise of spirituality. You entertain the thought, imagining for a moment the allure of seeking divine encounters in marble pools. Meanwhile, beneath the surface of the water, you stretch your toes, feeling smooth tiles meet your skin solid and reassuring beneath the fluid, translucent surface. It's a comforting anchor amid thoughts of the spirit world. The chatter around you deepens, spiraling into pockets of quiet intensity. You overhear snippets, musings on the uncertain business of the next quarter, lamentations over the drudgery of daily chores, and occasionally whispered confessions of youthful daring. With a backdrop of harmonious clatter from distant doors opening and closing, you hear a voice, with notes as rich as freshly ground coffee say, and you know they never expected it to work. There is laughter again, the kind that dances across the water, infectious and unrestrained. Something about this space invites a peeling away of facades, layer by weary layer, until only the raw authenticity remains. Perhaps it's the bathers' shared vulnerability stripped to basics in both attire and spirit. Your thoughts skip back to that sumptuous meal, outside roasted meats and aromatic herbs, fresh baked bread still warm to the touch. The memory of the tangy sweet figs lingers on your tongue, a harmony of flavors as harmonious as the occasional laughter, interrupting the indulgence of deeper dialogue here amongst the rising steam. The meal outside wasn't just a feast on the palate, it was a prelude to this moment of intimate repose. Eating communally in the open air connects you to something timeless, as though you're participating in an ancient dance that's been passed down through centuries. You find yourself caught between the worlds of the ancients and the comforts of the present, tiptoeing lightly through thoughts of the here and now, aware of your heart's gentle rhythms in this communal sanctuary. Such evenings are less about the food or water and more about weaving the rich tapestry of human connection. As a final laugh echoes its sound, resonating with the acoustics of this sacred space, the irony of humanity's timeless storytelling habits isn't lost on you. These moments of joy, banter, and quiet contemplation blend into the bath's gentle haze, suggesting a truth as solid as the tiles. Beneath some rituals never cease, they merely evolve. Even after the water cooled and the braziers dimmed, you linger in the fading warmth of a Roman bath. The remnants of the day's heat intertwine with the enticing aroma of onion steam and freshly baked bread like echoes of a well-fed Roman day that now lull you into a relaxing stupor. You almost chuckle at the thought. You probably won't survive this Epicurean delight without slipping into dreams. But before surrendering entirely to the comforts of ancient luxuries, your mind roams over the grand design of the day. That's right, surrounded by the architectural genius of the Caldarium. You recounted how every Roman bathhouse, this one included, was a masterpiece of social engineering. You marveled at the Hippocaust system, those beneath-floor heating ducts still warm under your outstretched fingers, ingenious in their time and effective with their lingering embrace. As the ambient heat ebbs, you imagine the bustling activity that once filled this space. Patrons wrapped in cloths, shuffling along stone floors, slicked by age and use. Wide corridors echoed with the mingling voices of strangers turned acquaintances. You can't help but grin, realizing historians still debate whether these leisurely gatherings were the true centerpieces of Roman society or mere distractions from their less than glamorous realities. Arches arch overhead like guardians made of stone, and your imagination unearths a hidden conversation within the faded writings on the wall. An attendant brushes past, probably collecting forgotten towels or maybe just rehearsing lines for the local theater. You wave absently. A congress of steam rises around you, presenting your graceful part in this nightly symphony. Tonight holds its magic, a gentle whisper tracing across your skin, coaxing your muscles to relax with promises of distant times. You wonder if a fellow bather once stood here contemplating similar thoughts, or if perhaps the lofty marbles overhead held just as many secrets. You shift slightly, your fingers brushing the smooth surface of a marble bench. A slow exhalation escapes your lips as you settle further into the embrace of history. Somewhere in the dimming light, a soft laugh breaks the silence, the ghost of some past reveler, too full to stay silent. You smirk, imagining the jest, no doubt rooted in some culinary delight or philosophical quandary. Stand in you, let slow steps guide you past nooks and alcoves, where the dim glow traces stories older than the walls themselves. A mural beckons your gaze, vibrant colors faded, but nonetheless persistent, a depiction of Mediterranean scenes where mythology danced seamlessly with reality. You ponder if the artisans believed Neptune truly favored those who gathered here in his Roman domain. Historians might squabble over the finer details, but there's truth in how stones hold stories, and these ancient stones embraced their roles with quiet dignity. You find solace in the soft echo of your footsteps against forgotten conversations, accompanied by silent witnesses, those statues whose marble gazes remain steadfast through the flow of centuries. In this twilight dance, some kind-hearted soul has left a basket of warm bread on a side table, its scent wrapping around you like a gentle lullaby. You chuckle softly, realizing that some kindnesses transcend time itself. You break off a piece, relishing its comforting warmth, as you reflect on how little food's power to comfort has changed. Are those figures in flowing togas or trickster phantoms from the past, weaving through the rising fragrances like threads through a grand tapestry? It's hard to tell when imagination softens the lines between history and dreams. For now, it seems polite to invite the ghosts of times past to linger a little longer, dancing gently in this intimate reverie. When one finally collides with the coolness of the air, ancient wisdom wrapped in the freshness of night, your senses adjust, inviting the chill as a parting gift from the bathhouse. You look back, a smile ghost in your lips, knowing your brush with Rome, both humbling and humored, will return each time you let history guide your respite. And so you step away, letting the quiet shadows bear witness to your retreat, an audience now accustomed to fall silent. Here, among the relics of a world dipped in legacy, you find peace in the unending quest to share this moment of celestial repose with names long forgotten. As the day slips into night, the lingering scents guide you homeward, a fragrant compass marking your way with each step. Your heart beats in quiet harmony with the rhythms of sun-baked grasses and cooling cobblestones, a lull punctuated by the occasional snore of a sleepy bird dreamily adjusting its perch. As you near the villa, the ambient night becomes a cocoon of calm, wrapping around your very being. Each breath deepens your connection with the present, and as you touch the wooden door of your sanctuary, you feel the day's accumulations dissolve like morning fog beneath warming rays. Inside, the domus welcomes you back, a space crafted for comfort where thoughts gentle into murmurs. The pitched roof seems almost to bow as you pass beneath an elegant partner to the chorus of crickets singing their twilight hymns. In the quiet of your chamber, the bed invites you with soft linens, woven to mirror sea winds and moonlight. Surely linen has never been softer. With a practiced grace, you ease beneath the covers, your thoughts barely audible whispers, now riding on feathers. There's no need to hurry these moments of transition, where the weight of time has thinned to silk, and sleep curls like a friendly kitten beside you. Night's gentle hand draws the curtains softly across the window, painting the room in slumber's palette. Your eyes close with the ease of old doors, shutting daintily against time's careful whisper, a pact of rest reaching across epochs. The heartbeat of history's breath becomes a lullaby, pulsing gently in the ever-steady nature of quiet. Letting go, you float between the lines of shadow and light, where the ghosts of today's waking melt tenderly into the promise of dreams. Should you beckon them, they shall return day anew, lit by Roman sun history, repeating with each whispered close of night. The rhythm of sleep embraces you until at last the day's intricacies fold seamlessly into the tranquil embrace of dreams yet woven. Here the dance ends as softly as it began, forever, guided by echoes of time's gentle sway.